You're late.
I know. First time.
Last time.
My AirPods were on a really good streak of what is that, 5 or 6 episodes in a row. Just took them out of the case. They connected. And today, back to the drawing board. Had to reconnect them.
You know what you can do with those excuses?
Shove them up my ass.
You can not tell them to me.
Oh!
Professional. By the way, this is a good time to add this that I saw on the internet.
And what the hell?
Yeah. So there you go. He must have been late for his podcast with the guy who made this. And that's how that guy dealt with it.
Yeah, effective.
Yeah. Sucks to suck.
Yeah, it does. How are you displaying that? Oh, you just went to a website. I got you.
Yeah, I had Google Photos pulled up. I think that's something that we should start doing is if you do have things that you want to share the screen and I can add it and remove it from the stream without having to go through the process while we're on the air of doing it, looking it up, then adding it, then I have to add it. I can just drop it in and out whenever we need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I like that. I think that's a good idea.
All right.
I wrote something down last night for this. I was sitting watching The Crown, which is such a good show again. And this may be obvious, but maybe it's not, or maybe I just haven't found the right words. But I think what I've been pushing for has been too much, and we've talked about this, too much about what do people want? But what I've really come to the conclusion is it's about having something in common with the audience. That's the key. The podcast that I listen to, and even when I listen back to ours, I think this is very enjoyable for me because I know everything that's being talked about. But why was Talking Sopranos enjoyable? Why was that Law and Order podcast enjoyable for you? And for the Sopranos one, it's because I love the Sopranos. For the Law and Order one, it's because people love Law and Order, and they came in with subject matter that they were eager to talk about. I just saw Wakanda Forever. I listened to a Wakanda podcast because, I wanted to hear more people talk about that. So I think that's the key that we want to drive towards.
Absolutely.
The way we've been doing it is we have something in common for 5 minutes with many people. You know what I mean? This 5 minutes have something in common with one group of people. This 5 minutes has something in common with a completely different group of people. And I don't know if that's the best strategy or the worst strategy or somewhere in between. But
I don't think it's the final strategy. I think we're
of course
still figuring it out. We're still trying to figure it out. That's all.
Would you agree with that though?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm looking for if I'm searching around for a podcast on a specific topic, it's because I want to hear more about that topic.
But what if you're not looking for a specific topic? What if you're just looking at podcasts?
Which you're not. You don't. You're not.
You don't think?
So you have nothing and you're just kind of browsing.
Yeah, what are the most listened to podcasts, most popular podcasts, something like that. Just browsing.
I don't know. I don't know how you would stumble upon this one if you're looking for the most listened to podcasts.
No. I'm not saying that people would stumble upon this one. I'm saying that if I'm navigating through the most listened, if I'm navigating through podcasts, whatever filter I'm using, the thing that's going to catch my attention is something that I feel like I have in common with the people producing the podcast, right? Some shared interest.
Yeah, you will have seen an episode of Law and Order SVU. You're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll listen to that.
Yeah, I'll give this a spin.
We're still trying to figure that out. That's all. That's what this is. That's what our podcast. We're not a podcast. I hate that term.
I don't like it either.
It's such a confining.
It's narrow. It's limited
category. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't think that's what this is. I think this is just one, we're streaming it live, so it is live. It's not recorded. And two,
It's a good point.
It just isn't about anything except for what this show might end up being at some point. And I think at some point, the one cool thing that might end up happening is that we can have people watch this live and comment on it and then kind of interact that way, which might be what pulls people in, right? If you're just searching YouTube and you see that a show is live, whether it's this one or any other one, you might be like, well, let me jump in and see what's actually going on live. It's an interesting concept, right? Like you're watching something that's happening right now somewhere in the world and you can interact with it.
No, that's an interesting point. Okay, I see where you're coming from now. Your vision is starting to become more clear to me each time we have this conversation. I learned something new about the reason that because I do think you have I don't know if you realize how strong of a vision you have here, but I can tell you see something. Like you just see something I don't right now, which is why I keep coming back to this. But I like that.
Okay.
I like the way you
Good.
described it. Yeah.
As soon as you start seeing something, you're not going to come back. Is that the point?
No. I'm saying I'm coming back. If I saw something, then I would definitely be coming back. I don't see anything and I'm still coming back. You know what I mean? I don't have the same vision as you because I wasn't looking at it like a live thing because I'm assuming that no one will have a chance to stumble upon this live and then therefore how will they interact with it that way. But I do think that like the voyeur aspect is interesting. The opportunity to take a peek into something that's going on somewhere in the world right now. I like the way you said that.
It's that. And then again, the actual interaction that you can have. And and here's how this stuff works is you do it because you want to do it, not because of that possibility that someone may drop in and say hello from Indiana, but you continue doing it. And then all of a sudden it will break. And then all of a sudden you have someone who shows up every time. And and then 2 people show up every time, and then a dozen people show up every time, and then maybe that's where it ends. I watch a lot of Twitch, and it's fascinating to me the number of people who do it, but also the number of streams. We all know the big. Even you've heard of the big names. You're not a guy who watches Twitch ever, but you know who Ninja is,
of course.
And you know who maybe Dr. Disrespect is.
Yeah.
And those guys, right? Because they have tens of thousands of people watching them. But there are hundreds, maybe thousands of streams that have 12 people watching them.
Right.
But they religiously watch this person. And they may not, I don't think they know them in real life. Or whatever. They just, the same 12 people like watching that guy play whatever he plays or that girl play whatever she plays and enjoy. It's like a community. It's like a chat room, man. It's like an old school MIRC internet chat room, AOL chat room.
I've popped into a few Twitch streams, enough to mostly like when I get a new game, like I just downloaded the new Call of Duty last night. So I watch a few people play it just to kind of get the hang of it or see what it's all about. I used to love NBA 2K. And I probably spent, I know you're going to lose your mind on this, but $3,000-$4,000 a year on NBA 2K.
Yeah,
does that shock you?
I don't know. It's shocking that you're even able to spend that much money. But no, I'm not shocked that you spent that much money on something. It's so stupid.
It is. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life. But it was. It's like something you get caught up in. It's designed to make you continually spend money and not know how much you spent. So
microtransactions, right? That's the idea.
Microtransactions, exactly. So I used to love watching people play that game, and I was so bad at it, but I could outspend the 13-year-olds.
Talk about pay to play.
That is definitely pay to play.
If you bought stuff there, your player would be better. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I was buying packs of cards. Hold on, let me get my thing set up.
How does that work? Because I see that with FIFA yeah. So tell me how that
Ultimate
goes.
Team. All right, so this is a dangerous world. I would say don't even bother sticking your toe in, but you it's sort of the perfect sports video game experience, because you purchase packs from different pack drops, right? So they'll have like their base box. They'll have the limited edition All-Star Break box for the NBA. And depending on what box you get, the packs cost a different amount, and they're not cheap. Like a pack is like, $5 or $6 for, I don't know, 5 cards. And within that pack, you can get current players. You can get Pistol Pete Maravich. You can get Michael Jordan from his rookie season, Michael Jordan from the 95-96 championship. And, they all have different ratings and attributes. So eventually, like, I was buying so many packs that my team was like prime Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at center, prime Karl Malone at power forward. You know what I mean? Like I have a question. Loaded. Yeah.
So what do you get these packs and you get these players for what? Like then you could play the game with them?
Yeah.
These players?
So then imagine like when we were kids and buying NBA trading cards, which we definitely did together. Some a nice fresh box of Top Stadium Club, 91, 92.
Expensive.
Looking for Shaq rookies. Yeah, expensive. Exactly. Sort of exactly the same thing. So imagine then you just wanted to take the cards that you opened out of that box and make a lineup out of them. And then I would make a lineup out of mine, and we'd be like, oh, well, who would win in our game? Okay. You actually get to play and see who would win. So you have all of your cards in an interface that you can swap them in and out, and you can buy upgrades, and you can boost attributes and this and that and this and that, until eventually you have the Third Reich as your super team that like cannot be defeated, right? It's like you're subbing in Kareem for Hakeem Olajuwon and Shaq they play 5 minutes each because you're so loaded with talent. And then you still lose to a team that has none of those players.
Because you yourself are not good at using your players you have.
Correct.
That sounds amazing. I'm glad you spent $3,000.
The most frequent message I would receive was, "How are you so bad with all of those good players?"
Yeah.
And it's not a question I've been able to answer, but I've certainly thought about it. How am I so bad with all those great players?
Yeah, that's true. Dude, the internet. So I never really got into playing Call of Duty. I got the last one, and that was the first one I got, and I'm awful at it. So I stopped playing. I was dragging down my friends. Right, we would play, and I was.
Well, were you playing Warzone? Were you playing the huge map? Well, okay, that's very hard. That is competition level gaming.
So I played by myself. One of the coolest moments of the pandemic for me was my wife. It was a weekend, right? We were just doing nothing, sitting around inside like most people did early pandemic. And I'm like, check out this game. And I was kind of explaining to her, it's a cool concept, right? Yeah, it's huge map and you drop in, and I was by myself, and they have skill-based matchmaking on Warzone. And so this is like the first time I'd ever played by myself, and I won. I ended up winning the Warzone. I was pumped, man. I was really,
that's incredible.
Really, yeah. I think I only had 3 kills, but I was trying to.
You stayed away.
I was out at the edge of the map and then got to the middle, and I killed someone worse than me to win.
Nice. That's all it takes.
My heart was racing, man. But that was fun. But when we got to the maps and just running around shooting each other, I sucked at it, and I didn't want to like invest the time to get better.
Wait, you mean also, when you went to just like the multiplayer maps?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the multiplayer maps is where I dominate. Warzone is where I struggle. I'm very
dominate,
good.
Huh?
I'm pretty good.
We can look up what's your stats. We can actually look those up.
Selk Dog 44, bro. 2 G's.
And this is Modern War. What was that? Modern Warfare? That's just regular Modern Warfare, right?
Yeah, it's Black Ops, Modern Warfare. It should have all of it, but yeah. I think it's all I think it's all done by Activision. All the stats are kept by them, but I'm not sure.
Activision ID username is what?
Selkdog 44,
Yeah,
SELKDOGG 44.
I see it. Let's take a look at Josh's Call of Duty stats.
Pump it up. Pump it up.
It's loading. API issues. What? Yeah. It's on here. Like your name populated.
Yeah, it's because I'm a stone cold killer.
Let's find out what your KD is. I know that's a thing, right?
Yeah. KD is probably around 1. I think I'm around even.
So that's not dominating.
It is dominating if you're 40.
Okay, here we go. That looks like him, huh?
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep. What is
damage? This is match history.
Oh, these are Warzone stats. I don't play Warzone. I play like we were talking about. So this is the big map. I suck at the big map, but I said in multiplayer, that's where I dominate.
Plunder.
No, those are all the same thing. Those are all Warzone.
Let's look at this.
Just different maps. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't see any. This. Oh, you killed 2 people. Congratulations.
I killed 4 people. Died twice.
Yeah. A lot of zeros up here, Josh.
Yeah, I'm
seeing a lot of goose eggs.
Yeah, I'm no good. You can see that's probably as many times as I've played. It's not very fun because I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I don't even know what the money's for. I don't know where I'm supposed to buy things. I don't know when I'm supposed to buy things. I'm so overwhelmed and confused by the whole thing. I've just never taken a chance to, get good at it.
Maybe this is it, huh? No,
this is all Warzone. Yeah.
So how do I get to Warzone? Let me back this out and see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, maybe it would be Call of Duty multiplayer, but I don't know if they put that online. They might.
Yeah, it's tough to see here. Anyway. Yeah, I just there's a look. You can only do so many things, right, with your time.
Yeah,
and I chose to grind out different, the guitar, and not Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was smart. Guitar is an actual useful skill. Call of Duty isn't. But I'm excited actually. I downloaded it last night, and I'm pretty. It looks pretty cool. You can change out the bullets now within your There's just a lot of stuff to tinker with, and I like that. I don't know, like you said, you got to pass the time somehow.
I like watching people play it. That was a thing. Yeah. See, that's why we are the first generation of children who would watch each other play video games, right? Yeah. And so that's what Twitch is, really.
And how exciting was it when someone who could legitimately beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out would come over and everyone would gather around and be like, oh my God, this guy's about to take down Mike Tyson.
I still remember you, me, and Alex Wachowski at his house, seeing how far we could get in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Yeah. I remember that.
How far did we get? Who was our star player?
I think we beat Don Flamenco, the second one.
Second Don, that's not that far.
Yeah.
It's pretty far.
I don't think we got past that. It was fairly far. It was within 5 of the end of the game.
Okay, so that means we were probably we probably got stuck up on Mr. Sandman.
You see the next one? Yeah.
I think he's a tough one.
Yeah, that was it. And again, I didn't have Nintendo.
That's the best video game ever. No, you had TurboGrafx 16. Explain yourself. Explain that investment. You're challenging my 2K $2,000.
I didn't get any investment. I didn't make that investment.
For inflation, the TurboGrafx 16 investment was a similar. Was it expensive or no?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think it was 16-bit. It was the first 16-bit gaming system out.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
It was before Sega and Super Nintendo were out. And so your options were Nintendo NES or something that looked way better. And the other cool thing about it was that you could use the same games from the console in the handheld system. And so you didn't have to
That's
buy
right.
you didn't have to buy the Game Boy and then all the Game Boy games. You could just buy one set of games and then take them with you. And I remember doing that. And it was color. Like the handheld one was basically just a small TV.
It was
the
like
console built into it. It was huge.
You could watch TV on it?
I think you could actually buy an antenna attachment and watch TV on it. But that's what it was. Cool. It was just a monitor, right? Because it had the console kind of built around it, and same controls and everything like that. So that was nice.
I thought it was a really fun system to play.
Some of the games were amazing. Bonks. So their version of Mario, like their flagship thing was Bonk, the caveman.
Yeah, and it was cool.
Bonk's Adventure and Bonk's Revenge were awesome. They were really fun games. And the best game I had, and this is going to sound insane, was a game called Devil's Crush. And it was a pinball game. And I easily logged more hours on that game than any other game. And actually, the Wii Virtual Console,
NHLPA 93?
Easily. Not even close. I'm telling you. I played when I had the Wii. You could buy TurboGrafx games on the Virtual Console, and I bought Devil's Crush, and I would play Devil's Crush in my house when I was an adult. This is like 10 years ago.
That's awesome. You must be amazing at it.
I haven't beaten it, but you have to get like all nines. You have to get like 999 trillion points.
You've been playing it for 30 years. You haven't beat it yet?
I haven't picked it up.
Is it a beatable game?
I think you just have to get all nines on the score.
I know, right? But is that even reasonable?
It's possible.
Expect? Okay.
It's possible.
All right.
But it was sweet, man, and the music was so good. So yeah, but the game system was great. I think the story is my dad actually bought a Nintendo, and he was going to give it to me for Christmas, and somehow someone said, "Don't." Like, take it back and buy the TurboGrafx. And that's what they did. Yeah.
Because they were like, that thing's going to be antiquated as soon as you put it under the tree.
And it kind of was. As soon as
it was,
Super Nintendo came out.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I knew one person who had a Super Nintendo, though. Will Mignogna. Will Mignogna had a Super Nintendo. I didn't know. Like, I feel like, I was a Sega guy.
You were.
But I kind of think everyone was. I don't remember Super Nintendo being very big.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember my parents would let me rent a Super Nintendo every once in a while from Blockbuster and a couple games for the weekend.
Yeah, we did that. We rented a Nintendo 64 and played NFL Blitz until our eyes bled.
Did we really? We actually rented one? I thought you had
rented one. I did, but we rented. This was before I had one, so we rented it. Yeah.
Josh and I are easily the best two players, or at least at one point were, at this game called NHLPA 93.
Yeah, I don't think it would take me long to get back onto the top of the mountain.
I don't think so either.
Still got the muscle memory.
And I'm telling you, if there was a way that we could play that on this, we would be doing it already.
Well, what do you mean? There isn't? There has to be.
I looked. I don't think you can play an emulator on remotely. Does that make sense? We'd have to look at it, but I don't think there's a way to do that that's not really clunky and has serious lag issues.
Is an emulator the only way to play it still?
No, people play on time all the time on streams. You can do a screen capture from a TV you're actually playing, whether it's Sega or NES or anything, and then log it into a stream, but that's all local, right? You have that all in front of you.
Right.
And so again, if you maybe tell this to Allison, if she wasn't already convinced to move here because of the golf idea, say, I got to move to DC because Rich and I have to play video games live for 0 people.
We had to drive into the city yesterday morning, and we were listening to our podcast on the drive, which was actually kind of a nice thing to do. And she was laughing at that part. She liked that. She was like, "Yeah, let's move to DC. Sold. It's a great idea. I don't know how I couldn't."
Sometimes all you need is a little push.
60 some goals in a game of NHLPA 93 is
61.
S tier.
Why is it S tier?
I don't know. I like that, though.
I don't understand how you can start a tier-based ranking system and an A is the second tier.
Well, so in business, you always have the S team of, like, at Amazon, the S team was Bezos and his cronies. I thought the S meant senior, but now I'm wondering if S is just a designation for above A. It's far enough down the alphabet that we're not going to get to like an actual S tier. So that was the letter that was just plunked out as far enough down. Sounds cool enough. What do you think it sounds for snake?
Snake tier. I don't understand though. Why is it because they're like, well, listen, Jeff Bezos. So that was an actual thing at Amazon. The S tier.
Yeah, S team. Yeah.
S team.
Yeah, and I think it is at several other companies too. I think
is the idea that the rank and file have no chance to ever become an S team member, and so they don't want to give them that. You know, if Jeff Bezos was on the A team, you can't be. You don't want anyone on the B team thinking they could get to the A team, and so they called it. They didn't call it the A team. They called it the S team.
That's an interesting way to look at it, but I don't know. I have no earthly clue why they did that. I just genuinely thought it meant senior, like the senior executives. Every company must have senior executives, right? So I thought that was just an easier designation than saying like a team, because maybe the A team sounds like the TV show. B.A. Baracus.
But there is an A team, right? Did they have? So did they had S, but did they have A, B, C? Did they rank everybody into a certain team?
No.
Okay.
No, it was just S.
So, okay. Perfect.
I don't.
Cool.
I mean, the first time I heard S tier was like, I don't know, months ago, not that long ago. But it I don't know. I got what it meant immediately, right? I think you probably did too.
Well,
but I have no idea where it comes from.
It's like, why are we not talking about the A tier? Why is S tier higher?
And last thing I Googled was, why does every train station called Union Station?
We got to the bottom of that one.
Okay, tier maker.
Right, and S is at the top.
S tier means top ranking. An item that is S tier is among the very best in its grouping and class. What does S stand for? The S ranking is a tier list is typically regarded as a standing for superb or super, and is considered the highest ranking on a tier list template. Under S tier, the tier labels are a traditional A through D grading scale. The tier list labels can be customized, and at times a row for SS will be placed above S tier. You can see where this is going.
Yeah, see that guy, that whoever's like, oh shit, we're gonna come up with a tier above S. I messed this up. What am I gonna do? Now I have SS tier. First of all, the SS, you don't really want to rank things SS, right? That acronym has been taken, and it's not necessarily a
Chevrolet Super Sport.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
the Secret Service, Social Security.
You're getting closer.
You mean to label our ships?
That's right. That's true. It has actually been used many times.
Interesting that your brain went there, Rich.
Yeah, right.
Something you want to share with us, Conrad?
The Schutzstaffel, man. It's
S stands for superb, super, superior, special, or sugoi.
Yeah, it's the Sugoi tier, guys. Come on. How could you not know that?
The word sugoi, it looks like it's Japanese, can be used for expressing something extraordinary, meaning something like wow or amazing or incredible in English. It can be used in many situations.
That's why it's such a great word, guys.
Okay, so S rank originated from academic grading in Japan. Teachers could use a grade of S to showcase a level superlative to grades such as A, B, C, D, F. A way to incentivize truly exceptional behavior. There you go. There was
There you
also
have
an
it.
S level grade that was used in the UK for similar reasons. So I think my explanation was the right one. You know, what are you drinking? You got a Spindrift?
I do. Yeah.
All right, well, kind of. Now I need a drink. Hold on. Entertain our guests.
This is the half and half. Probably the best flavor. Tastes kind of like an Arnold Palmer with little bubbles. He shows up late and then he walks out in the middle of a 1 hour long show. He made it back.
That was a lot of dead air, I heard.
Yeah. This isn't the Rich show. It's the Rich and Josh show.
I think I'm going to do that more often just to see the kind of content that you produce when I'm not around.
It's not great. It's not great. So what did you get?
I just grabbed a glass of OJ in a stemless wine glass. Cheers.
Cheers. Orange juice, huh?
Oh, I'm a big OJ guy. Love orange juice.
Yeah, you a big diabetes guy. Is that really what you're trying to say?
Eventually, not yet.
Someday.
Someday. I'm striving to get to be a big diabetes guy. We had a diabetic dog. Do you think that's potentially where I got it?
You know what? It's funny. My sister has a cat who has diabetes.
Nothing funny about that, Rich.
You know what? I don't understand how people can let their dogs and pets become diabetic. It doesn't make sense. What your dog is not driving itself to McDonald's multiple times a week or ordering pizzas. You know, like you're feeding this pet. It's your fault, right?
No, it's not. That's not the only way diabetes can just be a genetic. There's two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
No, I know that. And so you're saying your dog has type 1 diabetes? Type 1 diabetes?
Yeah. And sometimes the symptoms just don't manifest until later in life. You know, it's not because he's not getting enough diet and exercise. That's all dogs do.
Well, that's not true, man.
It would be funny if a dog like had started, you know, letting itself go. But I guess that's true. Some people give their dogs table food and things like that they're not supposed to have, which is really harmful for the dog. Yeah, that's true.
We've all seen fat dogs.
Yeah, definitely. Fat dogs are hilarious.
And cats. They're funny. And maybe, you know what, it's funny. My mom used to always say that dogs end up looking like their owners. And if there's an owner who is overweight, that dog is not going to be fit, right?
It's never going to walks.
Yeah. And so it's true. If you walk around and see people, dogs take on the shape. They take the shape of their owner.
Yeah. That's true. Like you go hiking and you see a super fit guy with one of those dogs that's just all muscle and sinewy. And then you see, you know, at the mall, all different, at the outlet mall where you're outdoors, Grove City, see a whole different class of people and dogs.
And dogs. When's the last time you went to an outlet mall?
Not that
I feel
long
like you
ago.
I was going to say probably not that long ago.
Yeah, I would say maybe during the pandemic, a couple of years. There's one in Connecticut that's pretty close, and it's like there's no reason to shop anywhere else. Everything's like 80% off, and it's all the same brands and it's all the same stuff you see in the city, right? So it's basically like the New York City's outlet mall. All the, you know, doesn't have to be high-end brands, anything from Levi's to the super fancy stuff like Montclair has an outlet there, and it's all cheaper than what you'd buy in the city. So yeah, smart money goes out to Connecticut. What about you? You been to an outlet mall in the last?
I went to an
5
outlet
years?
mall to try to find a suit for your wedding, a
How'd that
black
go?
suit. Yeah, it didn't go well.
No.
I went to, I think it was a Saks outlet or something, and they had about 6 suits, 2 of which were black,
Yeah.
and in sizes that were not for real people. They were fake sizes.
Too big or too small?
38, like 38 longs or something like that. Like something
Odd size.
for 40. Yeah, like a 50-inch blazer with matching 32-inch waist pants.
Right.
Like
Right,
that
okay.
doesn't, those aren't for real people. Come on, stop.
No, they're not. Yeah, those are really odd shapes. Where'd you end up getting the suit then?
I didn't. I ended up wearing an old one.
Oh, okay. You look nice.
Yeah, nice enough, right? I tried to get one. I ordered one from Suit Supply, and I was all pumped about it. Yeah, it looked good, and it was very reasonable priced. And I'm talking to the lady. I said, I need this I'm leaving in 3 weeks or something like that. She said, I will have it in 2. No problem. See, it's shipping.
Good
It says
deal.
right here. So see, it says it'll be here a week before you leave, and
I
it'll be
already know where you're
tailored.
going with this because I've done business with Suit Supply before, and they're horribly disorganized.
And I was like, okay, great. Here's my credit card, and I call, or maybe I even showed up, and said, "Oh, I'm here to pick up my suit." She's like, "Oh, that suit's back ordered. You're not going to get it until next year or whatever." You know,
And I bet they
some
made
date that
you
didn't matter,
feel like you were stupid for asking.
right? And I was like,
Never-
okay,
They're horrible. I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that. I love Suit Supply. I just bought a suit from there recently for a wedding too. And they're great. Like, I love their stuff. But their staff treated me like I was an idiot for asking them to be accountable for the promises they made me. Right? Like, I went to pick up a blazer 2 weeks after for a wedding that was the next day, and it hadn't even been touched yet. They brought it out to me and had me try it on to see if the alterations were different. And I was like, this is the same. And they were like, no, that's impossible. And then I was like, take it to the tailor. And they took it to the tailor and they were like, yeah, you're right. This hasn't been done. Wait right here and we'll do it right now. So why did you ask me to wait for 2 weeks then? What is going
Right.
on here? What kind of operation are we running? And it happened with the suit, a blazer and the suit. They suck. Like in the snootiness of the salespeople, like how put off they were by the fact that I was asking for the things that I had purchased and they had promised. My God,
I know.
what was I thinking?
I didn't have a problem
Yeah.
with the person who helped me the first time, and I think she was the one I actually talked to when I went back. And they weren't rude about it, but the overall tone of the second conversation was, no, we're not going to get that.
Well, that's
Like,
cool.
how did you tell me you showed
Right.
it to me? You didn't just tell me. I didn't take your word for it. You showed me on the website that I've independently verified on my phone on the website that said, yeah, no, you'll have it in 2 weeks. It's shipping, 5 to 7 business days.
You know what else I noticed about Suit Supply? Every single one of the employees complained about working there unsolicited. Right?
So, okay, I think you have an issue with your Suit Supply.
And the one in New York City in Soho. You guys
I guess.
fucking suck. You're the worst. Go do something else if you're unhappy. Okay? Suit Supply is not the top of the pyramid. There's plenty up, plenty down. Just go somewhere else.
Yeah,
Rant over.
rant
They're
over.
horrible. And like they
But I like-
were horrible.
Yeah, I like their suit. The one I had on, I was looking forward to wearing and owning, and
Great suits.
didn't work out.
Bad people.
Are they good?
Yeah.
Are they good suits?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's comparatively. So I bought a 3-piece suit, and the quality of which, I think that quality-wise, it's probably not the best, but when you mix the design and the quality together, it jumps pretty quickly to the top, right? something in that design level or that kind of cut, you're going to be paying a lot more for, because you're going to have to go to like Hugo Boss or Armani or who's the Tom Ford. They just got bought, by the way. Do you see that? Estee Lauder bought Tom Ford, yeah, for like 2.8 billion or something like that. And I thought, that's all Tom Ford is worth? I'm serious. 2.8 billion doesn't sound like that much, does it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Couldn't tell.
But that's,
I think the big thing was with Suit Supply is there, because the suit I got was not expensive. I think it was under $400, which is, at that price, you're competing against Joseph Bank and Men's Warehouse.
Yeah, you're competing against Joe's Bank.
But if
you had bought that suit for $400, you would have also received 6 additional suits, 5 shirts, 3 ties, 4 pairs of loafers, 3 pairs of wingtips, 18 pairs of socks, and a handkerchief for free.
I wore Joseph Bank suits to work until
they weren't bad at all.
They weren't great. And no, they were bad. They were not good.
For the start of our career, that was perfect.
Right. That's the thing. It was quantity, man. You could get 5. Yeah. I had to wear a suit to work every day until 2012. And so, like jacket every day. And so you go to Joseph Bank every 18 months and get 5 new ones. And then that was it.
I mean,
for $700.
They went with the philosophy of, I'm trying to remember who said this. One of my buddy's dads said about a buffet. I think it was my buddy Max's dad. He talked about one of those like crappy buffets. Well, it's not good, but you get a lot of it. That was his thing. That's Joseph A. Bank. Well, it's not good, but you get a lot of it. They leaned into that. They're like, you know what? I can imagine the Joseph A. Bank boardroom with the CEO saying, no, God damn it. You know what people want? They want to leave the store with bags and bags of clothing. They want this suit. They want that suit. They don't want one suit. They want 20 suits, and we're going to give it to them. Something like that. I imagine him being kind of an old guy with a cigar.
The most egregious promotion they ran at one point was you bought a suit and you got 2 or 3 others for free, plus an Android smartphone.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah, that was a thing.
That's funny.
But but the pants wore out. That was the problem, right? The pants always wear out on suits faster than the jackets do. And so that was when I knew I had to go back, because the pants under, just had holes in them. And then eventually you just had to stop doing it. When I broke my leg, I had a cast on and I couldn't wear pants. So I took a bunch of Joseph Bank suits that were cut like hammer pants and just cut the right leg basically up to the knee just so I could get it over my cast. Because I was, who cared? Why? The pants were.
You just had them like open on one side?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of cool. You still had a suit on.
I looked very professional.
I'm sure you did. That was the important part.
So stupid. You had to wear a suit to Enterprise. You didn't have to wear a jacket. I shouldn't say you had to wear a suit, but you had to wear a tucked in shirt, a tie, white shirt, and suit pants. And part of your job description was washing cars.
Yeah, that one never made sense to me. I mean, yeah, I kind of think that Enterprise was a partial owner of Joseph A. Bank, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that they were in some sort of self-sustaining economy shell game. Make all these young kids wear suits, but where are they going to get the suits? Joseph A. Bank. But you can only sell them one suit. Oh, no. We sell them 6 suits at a time. Then we'll make them wear suits every day. Perfect.
That's right. Perfect. They have to work 6 days. They have to work 6 days a week. Make the number of suits they get for free the number of days a week they have to work.
Did you really
give them one day to do laundry?
It's got another email from Dunham Sports. Did you have to work 6 days a week?
Not every week, but yeah.
That sucks.
When you were, listen, my job career arc went from the only thing that mattered to me for my second job. I started at Enterprise, and the only thing that mattered for my next job was a job where I didn't have to work on holidays.
Oh,
that was it. And then I started working at the bank, and I had to work weekends as an assistant manager at a branch. And then my third job, I'm like, I just want a job where I don't have to work on weekends. And I got that. It took me like 2.5 years to get a job where I didn't have to work on a weekend after college. This isn't in high school at the mall. And I got there, but that was it. I remember that being my motivation. It was like, I just got to have a job where I don't have to worry about whether I can go out on a Friday night with my friends.
I'm sure a lot of people have that. No one who will listen to this podcast, but I'm sure a lot of people have that problem still.
Of course, a ton of people work on weekends, but
yeah,
I didn't want to. So
yeah, I don't blame you. I don't think I've ever. I mean, I've certainly worked on weekends, but I don't think I've ever had to.
The worst one was when I was at Enterprise. I worked at Reagan at National Airport on Christmas Day, and we ran out of cars with people standing there waiting for the cars that they had reserved
to go see their families for Christmas.
And this is like Christmas night. This is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night already on Christmas Day, and I've got 5 or 6 people and their families sitting there waiting, and I'm just like, I'm the only one. I remember almost crying and thinking, this is the worst day of my life, easily. This is to date the worst day of my life.
So what do you do? So you had nothing for them, no solution, no prospects, well, we can't do this, but we can do that. You had nothing.
So the model with Enterprise is eventually, you can always go to another branch and get cars that they aren't renting and bring them to yours and rent them. But on Christmas Day, the only
one person, yeah,
that's you not just that, but there's no one else. No branches are open on Christmas Day, so that whole possibility is over. You don't have that possibility. If it was a regular Wednesday, you could say, all right, send someone to go get it, or have someone from that branch drive it to you, and you send them in a cab back or something like that. But on Christmas Day, you couldn't do that because no one was open. And so we literally were sending cars that had like, I think they needed oil changes or something like that. And then we had to just turn people away. We had to just send them. We paid for their cabs to go wherever they were going. And that was that. It was so stupid. And
paid they for their cabs to go wherever they were going?
Yeah.
How
and a lot
far
of people
were
in town. Some of them, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. You had to get them there, right? Like, what are you going to do? You can't just.
I guess you could just say renting a car. Like, they probably needed more than just that cab ride.
Right. It was
right.
Horrible.
That's what they got.
Horrible mismanagement. And I remember just thinking, those were my decisions, man. My decisions were to wash cars and punch out tickets at the counter.
Gotcha.
And that was it. Not to say, well, let's, maybe for this one day a year where no one else, and we don't have an option of getting anyone else a car, why don't we just look at the reservation sheet and get cars for those people and have them here? And maybe they sit on the books for 2 days if they don't show up to rent them. But that's better than the alternative, which is what actually happened.
How does the car rental upgrade game work? Is there any secrets
I was really good at that. Yeah.
Well, tell me about it. All right.
So when you walk into a car rental and you have a intermediate size, this is how it worked at Enterprise. If you were coming up to the counter, and again, Enterprise is different than like Hertz. Hertz is completely different, where you just look at your name on the board and then you go get your car and that's it. You don't want to talk to anybody. If you're with Enterprise, you have to talk to someone. You are forced to listen to the fucking sales pitch.
Right.
And what
which I know about Enterprise, just as having been a sometimes customer. Like I know enterprise as the one that wants to upsell you desperately.
Mhm. And so it's just a matter of what's on the books, right? Some people bring back cars before they say they're going to, or whatever, and there might all of a sudden be a bunch of minivans on the lot, and those cars cost more to keep on the lot. And so if you walked in there and you had an intermediate size, and I see your standard
Wait,
size
why
car,
does it cost a minivan? Why does it cost you more to keep a minivan in the parking lot?
because a Toyota Sienna is more expensive than a Chevy Malibu, and it's just a
Okay,
daily.
because you're paying the
It's all
car
about
payments. Okay,
cost.
got you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you had a Chevy Malibu reserved and you show up and there's a family of four and everyone's got a suitcase, I'm saying, by the way, I got a minivan available, and they're usually this expensive. They're usually $80 a day more than what your reservation is, but I can do it for you for 20 if you want.
Yeah, who's going to say no to that?
Yeah, and everyone will. And I won. We had a sales competition because they push the insurance thing, right? Like they're like, oh, you got to sell the damage waiver. You got to sell the damage waiver because it doesn't cost them a thing.
Right.
But I'm like, I can't sell that. No one wants to buy that, and I'm not good at selling it. But I could upsell every single person that walks through that door if you just have a sales competition for that.
It's not a good idea to buy the damage waiver with car insurance.
Listen, it depends on whether you're going to wreck it or not.
Well, what if you don't have auto insurance?
Then absolutely get it, right?
Yeah,
you need insurance.
I went a few years without auto insurance and or driver's license, and you need to buy that insurance. But if you do have auto insurance, you don't need it, right?
You don't need it. So we had a sales competition, and the prize it was an upsell sales competition, and the prize was an eighth day of PTO for the year. That was it.
Dude, that's big. Those are high stakes. 8 whole days a year.
Well, no, you got an eighth.
Right,
day.
So 7 whole days.
You got 7. You only got 7 days, and those were sick and vacation days.
That's ridiculous.
And I won. I won going away. It was easy because that's what I did every day.
Well, that's sales, man. There it is. Why didn't you pursue a career in sales?
That's inside sales, right? We talked about this. I could do that. If someone's already on the books, if they're coming in and they have a product and I see something that is more expensive, I can sell that to them.
Yeah. It's an oddly different skill set to sell to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about yet. A true,
right.
Which is where I've made my bones. It's made me yearn for what you just described, right? The role that I'm in now is a little bit more of a hybrid, but I've just kind of stuck to what I know, which is going out and getting new logos or new pins, new customers, whatever it's called. And it sucks though. Like it's tough because I see some of my colleagues who deal mostly with expansions of the current customer base, and they're on, they're texting with their clients. They're going to their clients' weddings. Like they know these people. It's easy. They know how much budget there's going to be every year. They just wait for the POs. They're just so ingrained. My job is to accomplish that same thing in 6 months, right? To get to that same level in 6 months that person has gotten to over years and years and years of building trust. So you have to earn trust really quickly with people, and then you have to do everything you say you're going to do. And then if they have a question, you got to be there. You know what I mean? Those are sort of that's it. I mean, it's kind of common sense, but
so is the differentiator between your job and those inside sales jobs the comp?
Well, yeah, it's one of the big ones. I mean, so inside sales can still be trying to get new customers, but usually it's going to be that they're not going to see their customers in person, or they're handling smaller business, not as large deals. Where I'm at now is the largest companies in the field going to see that's the biggest difference. I think if you would talk to most people about the difference between inside and outside sales, it's like field sales versus you're sitting at your computer all day and you're calling people, or you're just dealing with an account base.
Yeah. Well, obviously, but the reason your job is harder is the reason you get paid more.
Yeah.
And
that's a good way to say it.
That makes sense. But yeah, it's that you're right. That is a different skill set, and I don't even know if that's a skill. I think to do what you do, you need to have a mindset that you are born with to be okay to just because you get beat up a lot.
Yeah,
more than any normal job, right? Where sales is not part of the equation. You get your ass kicked.
It's a lot of up and down. You have to not only up and down in terms of emotions, right? Like the anticipation of every quarter. It's like, okay, where is this deal going to come in? Is that deal going to come in? And did I really ask the right questions there? Like, you got to map it all out. And just like any other job, you got to prepare, but like the execution isn't daily. I mean, it is, but really you're only kind of graded once a quarter on the last day of the quarter at the last possible minute. So there's that type of anxiety, but it's also the ups and downs of your workflow. I'll have days where I have, back to back all day, every day for, 12 hours of straight meetings with no breaks, not even a break to eat lunch or whatever. And then there are other days where I have nothing for 2 days in a row. And that's tough to deal with too, right? To try to get into a rhythm despite the ups and downs of, where your time goes, because you're always on someone else's time, always.
Right.
I guess that's most business people.
That's not true. I think that you are even more so. I mean, it maybe a little bit, but really for you, it is very like transactional. So that's it. I mean, you really are available whenever the person to whom you are trying to sell is available. That's the idea, right? It's taken
me a long time to get to the point where I feel like I'm in control of my calendar. It's more been like maturity. I've had to realize it's the philosopher ruler seeing his reflection on the cave from the fire and realizing that he is alive. I've realized that I can potentially control. I am the master of my own fate. The captain of my own ship.
Yeah, that's not true. You're definitely not the master of your own fate. No one is.
No one is. It is nasty outside here. Is it just nasty outside there?
It was, man, last night it was raining hard and it was 39 degrees.
Yeah, same. Wow, that's brutal. Crazy. It's weird to me that we would ever have the same weather, let alone frequently.
I don't understand.
Is it the jet stream?
It's only 2.5 hours north of DC, right? We talked about this yesterday.
2
By the way, that's the funniest part.
2.5 hours?
That's the funniest part of that last podcast, the last show, last episode, that was a classic Rich and Josh argument about the facts about something.
Yeah.
Watching that part.
We were kind of having two different conversations.
Right. That's where it usually happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I was saying that it was, in fact, 2.5 hours. You were like, I don't care. I'm talking about why every station is called Union and Penn.
It's driving. And you were talking about trains.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
No. That was funny. I watched that episode 3 times front to back. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good. And I don't think this one is as good. But here's what I think is good about this one is that we're getting into the rhythm is better. We're not interrupting each other as much, and we're kind of the flow. And I bet that if we went back and watched episode 1, the production value is obviously better. We now have the logo and stuff like that. But
microphones are working. But the sound on the last one, and I know I've banned microphone talk, but the sound on the last one did sound great.
It was good, and I think that's just by doing it over and over again. You will get better automatically. And I think that's a big part of how all this goes. So I don't know that we made a ton of progress on this one. But But again, it's let's get the content out there, and then we'll figure out the rest.
Yeah,
We'll figure out the rest later.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Peace.
Later, man.